answer your questions as long as you need to make sure that the information is clear. Thank you very much. So, Chairman Duenas.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you for coming and sharing some time with us. You know, the future of our island community depends on many things, such as a good economy, a good educational system, good public health care, a safe community, and a clean environment, to mention just a few. The Guam Power Authority and its sister company, the Guam Waterworks Authority, are the foundation of our island community. Without electric power, electricity, and water and wastewater services, you do not have a community or a future. I saw a truck the other day that was rolling around on the road, and on the side of it, it had a slogan. It says, "We make the future better." And I thought to myself, and I said, you know, at Guam Power and Guam Waterworks Authority, we make the future possible. If there's no Guam Power and Guam Waterworks Authority, there's no future. GPA provides 98% of the time the very essential service of reliable electric power, which powers everything our island community depends on. This is 98% of the time. In terms of providing service to the community, I would tell you that we are outstanding in terms of providing service. 98% of the time people flip the light switch, the light comes on. 98% of the time they turn on their TV, it comes on. 98% of the time they start cooking, that stove works. Start to do their wash and their laundry, the washing machine comes on. 98% of the time. That's an outstanding record. As recently, and by the way, as recently as 2014, GPA sponsored an integrated resource planning forum down in Tumon. Some of you may have been there, to discuss and inform our community of the multi-level planning efforts of GPA to improve its conventional generation assets and to integrate renewable energy into the mix. Planning is at the very core of GPA's overall strategy to provide reliable, clean, and affordable electric power to its ratepayers. Planning is not just a recent effort. Planning started just about 50 years ago when GPA was established as the first autonomous agency within the government of Guam. So planning started at the very beginning. And our planning horizons are 20 years out. So we're looking 20 years out. We have informed you about our efforts to develop and implement about 180 megawatts of utility-scale renewable energy, along with energy storage. You've seen the Dandan plant already in operation, 26 megawatts. You have heard that we are now in the phase of contracting, actually contracting for 120 megawatts of renewable. You've heard that we've already gone out now to bid to solicit other companies who want to build more renewables on military land. Our goal is 180. By the way, in 2014, we were talking about 120 megawatts of renewable. So we're upping our game. We're not anti-renewable, we're very pro-renewable. And utility-scale renewable helps all our ratepayers, not just those who can afford to put it on their roofs. Okay, now we're going to address the other half of our planning effort. We talked to you about renewables and generation. We're now to the point where we're ready to start the implementing of the generation piece. Our new generation, conventional generation, will enable us to do more renewable energy, allowing us to improve service and control costs for our ratepayers. So with that, I'd like to ask John. John's going to go through his presentation. After that, I don't really need to close. I think what we need to do is open up to answers and questions, questions and answers rather, and after that, I'm available, John's available, can walk around and look at all those boards. I told John, I said, John, you can't talk about every board. We'll be here until lunch. And we have places to go. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, thank you everyone for really coming in this morning to allow us to talk to you about the new power plant. And I'd like to, like the chairman said, there's a lot of material we need to cover today, but I'm going to try to be as brief as possible and then later on open into any more specific questions that you may have. I'm going to talk as to why we need a new power plant, what are we building, where we're building it, and why. First of all, why do we need a new power plant? Unreliable and aging. about 46 years old over the next, by the time we get in this new plan built. We cannot meet future power demands. I'm going to show you that in the next, it's challenging over the next few years, but if there's no new power plant, we will be back to the load shedding blues. Our current power plants have been burning for 60 years, what they call dirty fuel, but it's really cheap fuel, which the economy has enjoyed, but of course there's a price to pay with the type of fuel we've been burning. It does not meet US EPA standards. It cannot support more renewable energy from the power grid. I'm talking now about the old base load plant. Right now, these are like, I like to say like dump trucks. They're carrying a whole bunch of load. But if you put any more load on it because somebody dropped the ball, it can't do it. So therefore, what's happening is you have some issues out there where there are power outages because of renewables. So you cannot work well with renewables. And who thought about renewables 20, 30, 40 years ago? It wasn't in the picture, but now that it is, a change has to occur. More expensive energy production, costly, complex to operate. Running a steam plant like Cabras Power Plant and the slow speed is really several times more complicated and complex than the new power plant that we're building. It takes a lot more personnel in addition to that. Wildly, and I guess the word wildly is starting to do that again, swinging fuel prices resulting in unsteady fuel recovery charges. Every 6 months, we have to explain to the public why the rates had to go up because LIA kept rising and all that. Why we couldn't mitigate, we tried to mitigate the cost structure to the customers, but we're unable because again, fuel prices keep on rising. Our goal is to diversify with, like what the chairman mentioned, renewables and the new power plant burning 2 types of fuel to stabilize our rate. So you're not going to be seeing this anymore. You're going to be seeing a very steady rate structure for GPA in the future. Also susceptible to tsunami and storm surges. All our baseload power plants are down in Apple Harbor. What happens if there was a tsunami? Now, you may not think this may be that important because it hasn't happened in years. However, there are studies undergoing now because there are thoughts that in a few decades here, several decades now, there might be a major earthquake up in Japan that will bring tsunami right down into Apple Harbor. And I'll show you what will happen to us then. So again, these are all concerns as to why on our old base loads and the new base load plan really solves all of these concerns. From anywhere from reliable to compliant with EPA to reducing costs to diversifying in fuel to make sure it's stable and not susceptible to tsunami. No? Next. We'll not be able to meet demand. I'm not just going to show you the generalized, I'm going to show you the numbers. Here's where we are in 2015. Before we lost the base load, we had 299, now we only have 208. This is our capacity. Our demand before the explosion of Cabras 3 and 4 was 249. Last year, we're already up to 261. Now, by 2021, expect to be at 283. Here's the reserve level. We have 38 in 2015. We have about 27 over and above the 2 largest units. So if one is on overhaul and the second one failed, we still have some capacity left. So we're not into load shedding. By 2021, we're only going to have 5 megawatts. So if you don't do anything, I can tell you we're going to be load shedding again. So here it is, in 2021, we put in the new power plant, we retire all the old ones, we actually have about 97 megawatts. In other words, we can bring on the growth, whatever the new military growth that's happening here, and we can meet demand as long as we're going to build that power plant by 2021. If not, we're going to be starting to say, and we'll be saying to the Commission, you got to stop growth because we're not going to meet that. Okay, so again, I don't want to It's not a threat, it's a reality. I'm showing you the numbers, no? The other thing is here, 2% of our energy was of the more expensive diesel. And 98% from base load. See how we're coming down now? By 2021, base load and renewables are going to generate 99% of our energy. That's the least cost mix for the system that could occur. Next. In terms of what it really means in dollars and cents, today, this is about how much it's going to cost us at $55 a barrel. Remember, we're up to 65 now, so this is up. When the 120 megawatts of renewables that you heard about is awarded to Han1 and KEPCO, when it comes online, it's going to save us about $11 million a year. And reduce the total number of barrels of oil that we consume by about 700,000 barrels. EPA, don't forget, EPA, and we've been saying this for several years now. If we don't comply and burn clean fuel or convert the existing power plant to clean fuel, we could be faced with over $150 million in penalties. In addition to that, our operating costs will go up to about 197,000, meaning if you do nothing at all and just comply with the same old power plant, it's going to cost you another $28 million more a year, in addition to the penalties. No? With the new power plant, it really puts us on parity. And then we have the wild card here. The plant is being constructed to be able to burn heavy, ultra-low sulfur diesel and natural gas. Natural gas is abundant and is more stable. So therefore, for this type of prices of RFO, I estimate that the natural gas will actually end up, and the renewables would, in the next 4 years, save us about $27 million a year. So again, but without the new power plant, you're not going to get that savings. You're going to be back up to even just close to parity. And again, where are we heading? We're heading to getting away from total barrels of oil consumed. So we can go minus 700, 900. We consume about 2.5 million barrels of oil a day. One day that could go away. And that day could be the next 4 or 5 years. No? Next. Tsunami. This is a picture. This is a part of a presentation I just received this week. They are doing the study, University of Hawaii and the Coast Guard and the Homeland Security about tsunamis. And this is what it's showing. The water is going to come in here. Where's our power plant? Right there. What does that red side mean? +4 feet of water. That's only coming in. What about when it draws out all of this stuff? What's it going to pull out with it? So again, this is a concern that they're doing all these studies for, because potentially over the next few decades here, there could be a major 8.5 earthquake that could result in this. They're doing a modeling on this. So again, here's your power plant. We can't build here. We need to build it on higher ground. And so the island economy depends on energy. And if we don't have the energy, salt water mix in a power plant, forget it. You're talking about months, maybe years before you can get that plant. You might as well bring in temporary power. It's not going to happen, no? Once that power plant gets wet with salt water, it all degrades. No? So next. So why build a new power plant here? Again, increased reliability. We're talking about now the site up in Opudu. It's near GPA substation with many underground transmission lines. Closest to the villages with the largest population, therefore there are less line losses. The potential continuous plant operations through typhoons, being right into the underground line system, means we can operate certain areas all throughout the storm. More importantly, quick recovery after storms. Environmental benefit, right now we use about 5 million gallons a day in the Cabros power plant. When we build this new power plant, we're going to save the aquifer about 5 million gallons a day. We're going to take the wastewater, sewer water from the northern wastewater treatment plant and use that to cool the new power plant. So the net effect is we're going to be saving at least 5 million gallons a day of water from the aquifer, making it sustainable. You know, concern is where are we going to get the water in the future? We're getting away by utilizing sewer water, no? Not subject to tsunami, storm surge, sea level. We can eliminate that because everything, all the base loads will be above ground, above any impact. It does not impact the aquifer. Talk about locations, where might I put this? This is one area which does not impact the aquifer. Next. Here's what I mean about underground lines. Here's the Harmon substation. We have an underground all the way to the hospital, all the way to Tumun, at the Mooning to Tumun. There's one being constructed to the new military base all the way up to Anderson. There's one from Anderson to Dedilu. And then we're tying it to Machechi. The power plant is right there. Right now you have to come from here all the way to the mountains, all the way up to Agania, then up to Harmon. So you can see what our vulnerability is in terms of reliability. Here, the power plant is right there, feed right into the grid. So therefore, you eliminate all of those potential and therefore economic recovery. I'd like to emphasize to everyone that this may be the last power plant you build for the next 30, 40 years because you're going to renewables. So therefore, you need to fit this power plant as best you can to what will serve the community best. And this is all the factors we were showing you earlier. And underground this is why underground is important. Next. In terms of, we've been going through this for several years. And more importantly, over the past year and a half, we've been trying to identify sites. We can't do it down at Capras, so we look at other areas. What do we look for? We also look at industrial areas, zones. So that's closer to a similar mix of location. You don't find that up in the Dedilu area where there's adequate land. So we're looking for about 40 acres. So again, so this area here, as I will show you in a minute, is really where we found most of the industrial type of properties. So we received proposals for one up here, close to the wastewater treatment plant, and another one right here. We also went to the Ancestral Land Use Commission to try and build a power plant over here. They said no. This didn't really match the initial bid. Later on, when we went out for a solicitation of interest, they came in again, but this property came in. But what did this property do for us? This property made it a lot more reliable, extremely more reliable to hit the substation. It also saved us almost $30 million of additional capital investment because we don't have to put transmission lines all the way from here. Think about those 90-foot tower lines that are out in Marina. We need about 2 or 3 of those to run through the system to bring that power from anywhere here to this substation. So we're going to go through here, we're going to come out on Route 3, then we're going to come in and this right away, right next to GRMC, before we can get to the substation. We follow those transmission lines. With the location we're at now, you don't need to do anything except run a transmission line directly just from here to here. And then that takes care of all this reliability, less aesthetically a lot better and everything. So again, we've been looking at properties all around. And I think we are, I don't mind saying we were blessed to have this opportunity to buy this particular property. Next. In terms of zoning, all of this colored, that olive, and our M1s, these ones are like commercial. These are all industrial area. These are R2 zone. That's why we're here trying to get it rezoned. But really the use of this area is already all industrial zone. So our request to rezone it is not unusual at all for this particular area. Next. So what will we be building? A new power plant, reliable, safe and quiet, which complies with all regulations, local and federal. That's for noise, emissions, water, tank it, fuel tanks, everything. Has very clean emissions, efficient,